last year. If there's something that makes us better, for sure. But all you have to do is look at some of these teams out there that have given up the world for a star player, and now they're looking around like the Clippers.
Oops.
Yeah, no picks. Phoenix, no picks. Milwaukee, no picks. So you can really paint yourselves into a corner if you're risky and irresponsible. And I feel great about having Mike in charge of all this, because he's sharp and he understands all this.
Another season has raised difficult questions about how the Golden State Warriors are managing the final prime years of Stephen Curry's career. With Jimmy Butler suffering a serious injury, concerns about the organization's short and long-term direction have intensified. The comments made recently by the Warriors' general manager only added to that uncertainty. The general manager stated that he does not envision trading Jimmy Butler and expects Butler to provide a similar boost next season as he did when he first arrived. This position has drawn criticism, largely because Butler is 37 years old and recovering from a torn ACL. Historically, players at that age face significant challenges returning to peak performance after such an injury. Depending on Butler to anchor the team's competitiveness next season introduces major risk. Even before Butler's injury, many believed the Warriors needed to make changes. His absence has further exposed defensive weaknesses and an over-reliance on Stephen Curry's offensive output. In one recent loss, Curry scored 38 points, yet the team still fell short, highlighting structural problems beyond individual performances. The central issue is organizational priority. The Warriors' loyalty should not be directed toward individual contracts or past contributions, but toward maximizing Stephen Curry's remaining elite years. Curry continues to perform at an all-NBA level, and the responsibility lies with the front office to construct a roster capable of competing at the highest level while he can still carry a championship-caliber load. At this stage, Golden State effectively has three strategic options. The first option is to pursue a major trade. The Warriors possess one of the more flexible asset portfolios in the league, including multiple future first-round picks, pick swaps, and young players such as Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Moses Moody. In theory, this allows them to enter the market for a high-impact star who could meaningfully elevate the roster. The second option is to maintain the current roster and wait for internal improvement or a healthier return next season. This is the path that front office leadership has publicly suggested. However, given Curry's age and current form, this approach risks wasting another elite year without a realistic path to contention. The third option is a full rebuild. This would involve trading veterans such as Draymond Green and potentially even Curry himself to restock draft assets and reset the franchise timeline. While this may be strategically sound in isolation, it is widely viewed as undesirable given Curry's continued excellence and his central role in the franchise's identity. Of these options, doing nothing appears to be the least defensible. It would signal acceptance of mediocrity during a period when Curry is still capable of leading a contender. Fans and analysts alike have expressed concern that inactivity would represent a failure to fully commit to the franchise's most important player. The trade deadline, however, limits immediate action. Golden State is only a few games behind the upper seeds in the Western Conference, meaning a well-executed trade could significantly alter their postseason outlook. The challenge lies in identifying a move that improves the team without compromising its future flexibility. This concern was echoed by head coach Steve Kerr, who cautioned against mortgaging the future for short-term gains. Kerr pointed to franchises such as the Clippers, Suns, and Bucks, all of whom sacrificed draft capital for star players and now face limited options. His argument emphasizes patience and timing rather than urgency driven by external pressure. The question then becomes, what type of move is actually worth the risk? Anthony Davis had reportedly been on Golden State's radar prior to his most recent injury. His skill set fits well alongside Curry, and he has previously succeeded with similar personnel. However, Davis's extensive injury history makes him a high-risk acquisition. Betting the franchise's remaining assets on his availability would be a gamble rather than a calculated move. Other speculative trade ideas involve Zion Williamson and Trey Murphy. While Zion, when healthy, is an elite talent, his availability has been inconsistent throughout his career. Teams built around his health have repeatedly struggled to maintain continuity. Depending on him as a cornerstone would carry similar risks to the Davis scenario. In both cases, these potential trades would require Golden State to part with a significant portion of its draft capital. That would limit future options and potentially eliminate the opportunity to pursue a more suitable star should one become available later. This leads to the development that has generated the most discussion. According to reporting from NBA insider Jake Fisher, the Warriors are expected to explore two major possibilities in the offseason: entering trade discussions for Giannis Antetokounmpo should he become available, and evaluating the potential to sign LeBron James if he reaches unrestricted free agency. Either scenario would represent a dramatic shift. Giannis remains one of the league's most dominant players, and a pairing with Curry would instantly reshape the NBA landscape. While Milwaukee would likely prefer a young foundational player in return, draft capital may ultimately be the most realistic asset if Giannis requests a move. Giannis's public comments and reported behavior have fueled speculation about his long-term commitment to Milwaukee. While he has not formally requested a trade, his statements suggest uncertainty. Historically, such patterns often precede major decisions, even if they are framed cautiously. The possibility of LeBron James joining Curry carries different implications. While LeBron remains highly productive, questions would arise about fit, age, and long-term sustainability. Still, the marketing, competitive, and symbolic impact of such a pairing would be enormous. Ultimately, Golden State appears to believe that only truly elite acquisition justifies sacrificing future flexibility. That belief explains their reluctance to engage in smaller or more desperate moves. As the situation continues to unfold, the Warriors must balance urgency with restraint. Curry's window is not infinite, but neither is the franchise's margin for error. The coming months will likely define how this era of Golden State basketball is remembered, either as a final, aggressive pursuit of contention or as a period marked by hesitation and missed opportunity.
As the offseason approaches, the pressure on Golden State's front office continues to build. Every decision now carries outsized consequences because of where the franchise sits on the competitive timeline. Steph Curry is no longer a player you plan around for 5 years down the road. He is a player you plan around season by season. That reality changes how risk must be evaluated. The Warriors' recent dynasty was built on patience, internal development, and continuity. Drafting Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, then allowing them to grow together, created one of the most successful cores in NBA history. However, attempting to apply that same philosophy to this stage of the franchise may no longer be realistic. The league has changed, Curry's age has changed, and the margin for error has narrowed considerably. One of the key challenges Golden State faces is the dual identity of the roster. On one hand, they have an aging superstar still capable of leading a contender. On the other, they possess young players who do not yet project as primary contributors on a championship team. Balancing those two timelines has proven difficult, and the current results suggest the compromise has not worked as intended. Jonathan Kuminga, for example, has shown flashes of high-level athleticism and defensive potential, yet his development has been inconsistent, and his fit within Golden State's motion-heavy offense remains uneven. Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski offer energy and versatility, but neither profiles as a player who can reliably change a playoff series. These are useful pieces, but they are not difference makers at the highest level. This places the front office in a difficult position. Holding on to these players preserves future flexibility, but doing so limits the team's ability to improve immediately. Trading them could upgrade the roster now, but risks leaving the franchise asset poor once Curry eventually declines or retires. Complicating matters further is Draymond Green's role. While his defensive intelligence and leadership remain valuable, his offensive limitations have become more pronounced. In high-stakes playoff environments, opposing teams increasingly exploit spacing issues created by his presence. Deciding whether Green is still essential to championship contention is one of the most sensitive evaluations Golden State must make. The idea of a full rebuild, while logical on paper, remains emotionally and culturally difficult. Curry is not just a star player, he is the identity of the franchise. Trading him would represent a philosophical reset that few organizations are willing to undertake unless absolutely